2 years ago, in one of the CS2 updates, the developers added an extremely strange line stating that they enabled Overwatch for trusted partners. For those who joined the community recently, this system was added to CSGO more than 10 years ago and stopped working along with the start of the limited test of CS2. Overwatch allowed regular players to review demos of suspicious players, referred to as, you guessed it, suspects, and make a decision based on their behavior. The observer had to determine whether the suspect was using any aim assistance, wall hacks, any scripts for automated actions like bunny hop, or griefing the match for other people. Not so long after that, Valve confessed that for 3 years after Overwatch exited beta, they were secretly gathering as much data as possible, which later proved to be very useful for training their new at the time technology called VACnet. In 2018, one of the developers even held an hour-long session at GDC sharing that VACnet was fully activated about a year prior, after which the developers fundamentally changed the logic for finding suspicious players for Overwatch by automating the entire cycle. After initial training, VACnet began reviewing all finished matches, analyzing the behavior of each player and sending suspicious demos to Overwatch, where players made verdicts and the received data was sent back to VACnet for further training. No one claims this was the ultimate solution that saved the game from all problems, but I think many would agree it was a decent preventive mechanism against the most obvious cheats like spin bots or cheap wall hacks. Throughout the 2 years since that strange line about trusted partners, pieces of information related to some changes in the anti-cheat or hints of Overwatch constantly appeared in CS2 updates, for simply covering which I got shit ton of hate, especially after their announcement about initial tests for the new VACnet 3.0 in 2024 and updating machine learning hardware at the Valve office in 2025. And today I have interesting, not good, not bad, just interesting news to discuss, but while you have time, check out Skins Monkey. Use code GABEN and get up to a $5 bonus. Select a few of your current skins, pick a new one in the same price range and exchange your old and ugly CSGO items to something new and shiny from Counter-Strike 2. Use code GABEN and buy skins much cheaper with a 30 plus 5% top-up bonus. Skins Monkey, links and my code down below. The goal of this video is not to justify Valve's actions and certainly not to give false promises. Every time I release a video about anti-cheat updates, I simply show what appeared in the game files and what it could potentially mean. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just sharing the news and not responsible for Valve's further actions. I hope we've cleared that up. This info has been circulating in the community for a relatively long time and it took me quite a while to verify everything, so the most dedicated among you will be able to find all the info if you figure out where to look. What I'm about to tell you will definitely draw Valve's attention, and they love reading people's opinions, so leave your feedback in the comments under the video or in a post on Twitter. In the foreseeable future, the developers will release a new version of Overwatch that will work independently of the game client itself. I don't know exactly how it will be implemented, but apparently you will have some third-party program or website where suspicious moments will be sent for evaluation, kinda the same thing that existed in CSGO. Right now, they are preparing this Overwatch for a public release and access will be distributed strictly via invites. This invitation can be used only once and for only one account. To prevent dishonest players from understanding the logic by which VACnet finds suspicious moments, the developers strongly request not sharing anything seen with other people. So Overwatch case reviews on YouTube, as many content creators used to do before, will most likely not happen. Your verdict will not directly affect the suspicious player and will rather be used for further training of VACnet. As Valve themselves have repeatedly stated, the effectiveness of Overwatch lay in the fact that regular players extremely accurately notice the slightest deviations from the behavior of normal players. My biggest fear is that the first version of Overwatch was successfully abused by crashing demos or feeding VACnet deliberately false verdicts, and we can only pray that Valve foresaw this and made protection mechanisms against bad actors. I honestly have no idea when they will announce and start sending out invitations to this Overwatch, maybe they are already doing it. I sincerely hope Valve will understand my intentions and won't be offended for teasing this news, as the community is already screaming everywhere, seeing more and more spin botters in Premiere and the lack of any reaction to this situation from the developers. My main assumption is that after porting CSGO to the new engine, all collected data went down the drain and they had to rebuild all the logic for CS2 from scratch. And it may explain why right now VACnet and the most obvious anti-cheat modules simply do not work. I don't know whether they've been making the new Overwatch Overwatch for 3 years or if it started relatively recently, but if we don't see any results or announcements in the near future, everyone will be extremely devastated. Partly all of this is confirmed by a recent announcement in which Valve stated that they fixed a bug that allowed bad actors to bypass VACnet checks. I don't know if it can be called a bug, since as far as I know, cheaters were literally blocking requests from VACnet and preventing info from reaching Valve's servers, which sounds more like an exploit. Even before the update came out, cheat developers notified their users that VAC started actively detecting rage features and asked them to switch to hidden ones like wall hacks or subtle aim assists. Once again, I want to note that neither Overwatch nor VACnet is a cure for all problems. It is the first line of defense against the most obvious cheaters. This combination handled things quite well in the past, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for the return of Overwatch. It is also important to note that this protection is primarily aimed at competitive modes, and fans of casual modes will most likely continue to suffer the most. So leave a comment with a soap emoji if you watched this far.